Taiwan practices how to defend its skies with U.S.-made Stinger missiles. Opposition presidential candidate Hou Yu-ih blames the ruling party for tensions with China in a TV interview. After the largest ever seizure of smuggled cannabis in Taiwan, anti-marijuana groups are now calling for stricter laws. Plus, visually impaired Taiwanese people show they have what it takes to be professional perfumers. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Betty Chen. Taiwan is conducting air defense drills in the country's south. They're using U.S.-made Stinger missiles to practice defending the skies above Taiwan. Jaime Okan explains.
Taiwanese soldiers are brushing up on their shooting skills. The military here is in the middle of 3 days of coastal defense exercises in southern Taiwan. The focus of these drills is to hone the country's ability to defend its airspace. It emphasizes accuracy, and that's why these exercises are called the Divine Bow.
那我们这一次在做射手训练的时候，我们是要求这个靶弹发射后7到12秒，它就要能完成追瞄、锁定以及发射飞弹的一个动作。
But just as the exercises were coming to an end, Taiwan's military reported that China had sent 9 warplanes into the country's air defense zone. This isn't territorial airspace, but planes flying into it puts pressure on Taiwan to respond, and officials slammed Beijing's actions as irresponsible.
任何不理性的单边行为破坏区域的安全稳定，都不是值得鼓励，也都是值得谴责的。
Taiwan's military says it was monitoring the situation and deployed missile defense systems in response. But it's incidents such as this which create a cause and effect. As Beijing ramps up its military pressure and keeps sending aircraft into Taiwan's air defense zone, Taiwan continues to invest more in anti-air weapons, like this one, the US-made Avenger missile defense system. This launcher can be used to fire off Taiwan's 2,000-strong arsenal of Stinger missiles. And the military has over 74 of these systems spread across the country, many on top of vehicles to move them around if needed.
在复仇者飞弹系统，它的飞弹塔是安装在这个悍马车上面，所以它的机动性是比双联装来得强。双联装系统呢，因为它的这个装备比较小，所以呢它的掩蔽的效果会比复仇者飞弹车来得好。
Taiwan recently received an additional 250 Stinger missiles from a U.S. deal made in 2019. As it keeps training troops on how to use these weapons, it's hoping this will continue to be for practice and never for the battlefield. Isan Pan and Jaime Okan for TaiwanPlus.
In other defense news, U.S. lawmakers say they want Taiwan to take part in joint military exercises next year. They've asked the U.S. Navy to invite Taiwan to the Rim of Pacific exercises known as RIMPAC. It's the world's largest ocean warfare exercise and has been held for almost half a century. Militaries from 26 countries took part in last year's drills. And in local politics, the opposition KMT's presidential candidate Hou Yu-ih is laying out more of his platform. Jonathan Truez brings us the latest from Hou's camp.
Kuomintang presidential hopeful Hou Yu-ih takes a break from the campaign trail for a TV interview on Monday. And he made it clear that China is on his mind. China, which claims Taiwan as part of its territory, has stepped up military incursions around Taiwan's airspace and waters. Hou blamed the ruling Democratic Progressive Party for the recent tensions and said he'd reverse its recent decision to extend military conscription to a year.
把两岸搞得兵凶战危，不得不才延长兵役1年嘛。我当选总统，就努力确定两岸稳定和平。努力确定两岸稳定和平以后，我就恢复4个月。
Hou also took aim at the National Communications Commission, the body in charge of regulating TV in Taiwan. His party has been critical of the NCC since it refused to renew the broadcast license of CTI News in 2020. The station says this was a political decision. Ho argued for scrapping the commission altogether.
NCC 这几年啊，一下子又把人家关台，一下子又开台，撤掉、打掉、重练。
As the countdown to the election nears the 6-month mark, issues like these are becoming new battle lines. John Su and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's Deputy Foreign Minister Roy Lee sat down with foreign reporters on Tuesday to talk about the challenges Taiwan faces, in particular from China. Louis Cardinals brings us this report from the Foreign Ministry.
Deputy Foreign Minister Roy Lee has just finished taking questions from the international media stationed here in Taipei. He made a point before he started to say, look how many foreign delegations Taiwan now gets each week, 2 to 3. Politicians and think tank delegations from countries like the Czech Republic and France. And he was asked, what is Taiwan's goal with all these visits? And he said, partly it's to combat disinformation. There's this image going around that Taiwan is one of the most dangerous places on earth. He says by inviting people here to see Taiwan for itself, how its democracy functions, how it is dealing with intimidation from China, he hopes people can see Taiwan is still a good place to do business with. He was also asked, is Taiwan concerned at all of the recent increasing exchanges between Washington and Beijing? That was a reference to the US Secretary of State Blinken's visit to Beijing. And Deputy Foreign Minister Lee answered by citing a Chinese phrase. He said, it's good to talk to your friends, but it's even better to talk to your enemies. And he said Taipei sees it as simply a positive development that Washington and Beijing is communicating more so as to avoid any mishaps in the future. And finally, he was also asked about Ukraine. What is the actual contact between Taipei and Kyiv? Now, he was a little more coy on this question, and he said Taiwan is very much at pains to keep a low profile when it offers rebuilding and other assistance to Ukraine. Now, he didn't say why, but that's obviously to do with not putting Ukraine in a difficult position when it comes to China. So it was a whole load of varied questions here at the Foreign Ministry. Klein Wong and Louise Watt in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
The founder of the world's largest semiconductor company says geopolitics is challenging globalization. Speaking at an industry event, TSMC's Morris Chang discussed the pros and cons of globalization, saying businesses need to profit without harming national security. He also said globalization has lifted millions out of poverty, but it has also widened the wealth gap between rich and poor.
那个时候大的公司 ，IBM 啦、GE 啦，这 CEO 的收入，包括他的薪水红利，大概是基层的40倍。现在专业经理人啊，薪水跟这个 bonus 差不多是400倍。
Thailand's new parliament is gearing up to choose their next prime minister, but it's still unclear who will get a job. Joyce Tseng explains.
Bowing before Thailand's king, he's made a rare appearance to officially open the country's newly elected parliament. Joining an upper house of 250 junta-appointed senators are 500 lower house MPs chosen by the people. They donned their ceremonial white uniforms for the occasion.
ขอให้ท่านทั้งหลายผู้เป็นสมาชิกของสภาแห่งนี้ได้ระลึกไว้เสมอว่าท่านเป็นผู้ได้รับมอบหมายจากประชาชนให้มาเป็นตัวแทนของคนทั้งประเทศ
The people made their voices heard at May's general elections, saying they've had enough of military rule. The opposition moved forward and Pheu Thai parties won nearly 300 seats in a landslide defeat of conservative rivals, with a particularly stunning victory for the orange-clad Progressive Move Forward Party. But their biggest hurdle to secure their pick for Prime Minister, Pita Limjaroenrat, will be winning over enough junta-appointed senators, setting the stage for a tussle between military and democratic power. This result would have significant consequences, not just for Thailand, but the region.
If Pita and Move Forward become the prime minister. They changed a lot of policy toward our neighbor countries, and they want to increase the roles of Thailand in ASEAN in the regional forum.
Though Move Forward won the most lower house seats, this does not guarantee it the top one. The party has been working hard to form a coalition government, which includes a second largest group, Pheu Thai. But together, they are still 64 votes short of a majority. And some cracks in the main Move Forward and Pheu Thai alliance have surfaced over their choices for House Speaker.
So Move Forward Party is actually, they are trying so hard to get this position, but I don't think that Pheu Thai would allow that. So then they are fighting for about 2 weeks.
After weeks of back and forth, Move Forward and Pheu Thai ended up putting forth a third party pick for House Speaker, former Deputy Prime Minister Wan Muhammad Noor Matha, who is also part of the coalition. Whether this was a consensus or compromise, the true test will be whether Move Forward and Pheu Thai can stick together on the vote for Prime Minister next week and see the results through. Alex Chen and Joyce Zhen for TaiwanPlus.
10 people are dead and more than 100 are wounded after Israeli forces raided a Palestinian refugee camp. The Jenin camp is located in the northern part of the West Bank, a Palestinian territory. It's home to 18,000 refugees. Palestinians fled the camp as Israel's military launched air attacks and deployed ground forces. Officials say the raid was in response to shooting attacks from Palestinian militants targeting Israelis. It's the largest attack by the Israel Defense Force on Jenin in 20 years. Violence is on the rise in the West Bank as Israel's right-wing government pushes to increase settlements there. Coming up, a proposed referendum on Mahjong gambling moves ahead. Stay tuned.
At Connected, we believe in the power of dialogue.
Taipei 101 station.
It's not just about the headlines, it's about finding common ground. Join the conversation.
Connected with Divya Gopalan on TaiwanPlus.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Award-winning singer and actor Aaron Yan has been questioned on suspicion that he sexually exploited a minor. That's after his ex-boyfriend accused him of leaking intimate videos. Joy Sung has the latest.
He's best known in Taiwan as a Golden Bell Award-winning variety show host and a fourth of the former boy band Fahrenheit. But now, actor and singer Aaron Yan is in the spotlight for allegedly sexually exploiting a former boyfriend, who was a minor at the time. Yan's been released on a $16,000 bail and has been banned from leaving the country. Walking out of a Taipei City police station after questioning, he only had a few words to say to the swarm of press. In late June, Yan's former boyfriend and TikTok star Raku said Yan filmed and leaked intimate videos of him without his consent, something that happened when Raku was just 16. At that press conference, Yan made an unexpected appearance, bowing to Raku in apology while denying all claims to reporters. Yan's case is just one of many high-profile sexual harassment accusations that have come to light in Taiwan, riddling not just entertainment, but also public offices and the education sector. And all eyes are on investigators to see how such cases will be handled.
我们针对那个被害人他所供称的一些加害人的一些犯罪事证，我们来进行后续的了解。那至于说那个罪名的部分这个我们请示检察官之后，我们才能够确认来做后续的移送。
Police have seized Yan's laptop among other devices during a search of his home. The actor has said he will fully cooperate with investigations to prove his innocence. Kama Xu and Joyce Zhen for TaiwanPlus.
No love on campus. That's what students at a school in central Taiwan are calling new rules on showing affection. But the school says it just wanted students to learn how to respect each other's boundaries. Sally Jensen reports.
Closing the gates on young love. Students at this private school in central Taichung City are complaining they're now forbidden from holding hands or even hugging on school grounds. They say the school told them it's against school rules and even the law. The students brought their concerns about the so-called ban on love to a local youth association.
明显是曲解法规的规定，竟然在学期末的时候，主任要透过公共的广播要求说，学生你应该要来办公室跟我直球对决。
This comes at a sensitive time in Taiwan, which has been rocked in recent weeks by a wave of sexual harassment cases. It's become known as Taiwan's Me Too movement, named after a global survivor-led movement against sexual violence. But still, some say this school's new rules are a step too far. Officials are looking into it.
会再一次的函发给学校的主管机关，台中市政府教育局督导学校，那并且呢，请主管机关确实查处学校处置的一个适法性。
While some say this school is violating the Education Ministry's rules on student punishment, others gave mixed responses.
学生会做的还是会去做，你变成你限制成这样，只会造成学生更反弹嘛？
其实是可以用引导的方式，可能胜过于直接禁止会更好。
The school has pushed back on the criticisms. It says no such rules are in place and that it's merely advising students to be mindful of how they interact with each other.
学校目前没有这种校规，如果比较常属于常态性的接触或者是比较逾矩的话，就是会有家长这边来做理解。
While officials continue investigating this case, some teenage students here worry that love may not be in the air for some time. James Lin and Sally Jensen for TaiwanPlus.
A proposal to let Mahjong players aged 65 and older gamble small amounts of money is moving forward. The Central Election Commission is set to hold a hearing on a proposal on July 17th. Public gambling is illegal in Taiwan, but if successful, the move would let older citizens bet up to $32. Behind the proposal is the Taiwan Mahjong Greatest Party, which was set up last year to promote the tile-based game. It will need to pass through a multi-stage process and get the signatures of 1.5% of voters to get on the ballot. Taiwan has just arrested the alleged mastermind of the biggest marijuana seizure in a country's history. This has many civil groups opposing the legalization of the drug, but some aren't so sure. Bing Wang reports.
Police break down the door of an alleged marijuana smuggler. After months of tracking, Taiwan's Criminal Investigation Bureau arrested the suspected ringleader behind the smuggling of 1,200 kilograms of marijuana, the largest seizure in Taiwanese history. The plan was foiled by a joint effort between Taiwan and the United States. Last year, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security discovered that a shell company was smuggling marijuana hidden in furniture.
HSI 在美国西岸把毒品取出之后呢，我们就进行一个货柜放行。那在11月的时候呢，顺利抵达基隆港之后，我们再进行货柜监控，顺利的逮捕到有3名的一个嫌犯，他们都是接货人，进行一个溯源不会只抓到这个收货人就以此而自满。
The largest marijuana bust ever has ignited a campaign against cannabis in Taiwan. Civil groups are worried about more of the drug coming into the country and teenagers being exposed to it.
年轻人低估了大麻的风险，就已经在2-3年前，联合国都已经示警这一件事情。
Marijuana is illegal in Taiwan and is classified as a Category 2 narcotic alongside amphetamines and opium poppy. Possession of the drug could land someone in prison for up to 2 years. But advocates stress the health benefits of marijuana and believe the drug should be decriminalized.
A lot of people will say they use cannabis for anxiety and their sleeping problems. And also some people will use it for cancer, people doing like chemo treatments because you will lose your appetite.
Thailand became the first country in Asia to decriminalize marijuana. But with the debate about the drug just heating up in Taiwan, the country known as Asia's most progressive is a ways from following suit. Zhang Su and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
Dozens of children allegedly sedated by their teachers have tested negative for drugs. It's possible the whole episode was just a misunderstanding. But parents are reluctant to push for a change that would ensure this kind of incident can't happen in the future. John Van Trieste has this report.
It's a scandal that's been brewing since May. Allegations teachers at 2 kindergartens sedated children have Chen Kai-wen on the alert. Though her children don't go to either school, one of them is right next to her home.
会问小朋友说，你们就是在学校啊，然后老师对你们的状况之类的，就是会问他们说，你们在学校，老师会不会，就是有什么方式跟你们相处？
Her friend Irene is concerned too.
我们能做的就是去多观察小孩子的一个日常状况或者他们的行为举止。
All drug tests have come back negative. But even if the allegations are false, they've left Taiwan shaken. The scandal has even become a political football in the ongoing presidential campaign. Central to this scandal is the fact that Taiwan's kindergarten teachers are expected to give children medicine, as most kindergartens don't have a nurse. And faced with some of the world's longest working hours, Taiwan's parents are too busy to do it themselves. Then there's Taiwan's attitudes towards medicine in general.
在用药本来最根本那个概念上就跟国外不太一样，所以慢慢的它就变成，即便你去上学，老师也会觉得说，看到小孩生病，虽然还是来，但他还是会协助家长就是帮他把小孩吃一些感冒药等等的。
Legally, teachers can only give medicine prescribed by a doctor, but parents sometimes pressure them to do more.
比如说看起来可能是保健用品，比如说是维他命或是看起来是像中药，那最后可能在第一线的老师就会面临说，我喂还是不喂？
The National Federation of Teachers Unions floated the idea of refusing to give out medicine anymore in protest, but it's since reversed its stance. The parents TaiwanPlus spoke to are glad it did.
其实如果有生小孩的爸妈应该都知道，其实停止喂药是不对的哦，因为你停止喂药的话。 其实会中断他们的治疗。我还是希望这个制度要继续，只是或许可能要再建制更完整的一个喂药制度，例如说录影啊，或者是有一个监视的机制。
如果在上课的期间没办法再持续服药的话，我就觉得这反而是对我比较困扰。我不可能请假去帮他喂药啊。
And so, the system that made such a national scare possible is unlikely to change anytime soon. Eason Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
In related news, Taiwan is tightening rules on some commonly abused types of medicine. Barbiturates and benzodiazepines are being classified as Schedule 4 controlled substances. This will make them harder to get and force distributors to keep records. That's after they were allegedly used to drug children at a new Taipei preschool. They're tightly controlled in many countries. Major League Baseball's St. Louis Cardinals have signed their first ever Taiwanese player. The U.S. organization offered a contract to 21-year-old pitcher Lin Zhenwei on Monday. Lin has been gaining attention from both Japanese and American scouts, but he won't be the first baseball pro in his family. He's the nephew of Ho Chih Kuo, a retired Major League pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Lin will report to the Cardinals training facility in Florida in mid-July. Visually impaired perfumers are showing off their craft in Taipei, proving they've got what it takes to become professionals. Our reporter Cindy Chi has the story.
A tiny drop and a pleasant smell. These are the works of Taiwanese perfumers. But unlike others in their field, these masters of fragrance are even more sensitive to scent, as they are all blind or visually impaired.
视障者他除了眼睛看不见之外，我们第一个感官一定是用听觉。听觉之后，你接触到这个香氛以外，我还有嗅觉，我会用心的去思考一下，我现在处在这个环境，它会适合什么样的一个香气？
To become a professional perfumer, Wong has to take courses on the subject. He's getting help from a local NGO called Parents Association for the Visually Impaired, or PAVI.
这些年来，慢慢大家蛮重视精油香氛这一块。那我就觉得说，一个人当他看不见的时候，他大部分人的精力放在其他的感官的时候，而且他那么专注下去，他一定能够有一些成就。
A total of 7 people with visual impairments took part in the session in Taipei. But getting to where they are now does not come without its challenges.
他们在调这个精油的时候，他怎么去知道那个量控制的这个部分？那目前只能用协助的方式。
To date, the NGO has trained 16 visually impaired perfumers. Some of them may see the course as a path to a career in perfume, while others may branch out into other areas. Among them is musician Esther Chi.
我自己很喜欢香氛的东西，那我觉得调香就像音乐的乐曲的创作，它就是使用不同的材料，然后你可以经由你自己的一些构想、文案，然后创作不同的组合。
With their deep passion for scents, these visually impaired perfumers are showing they have the essential skills to win over the country's noses. Andy Xu and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories of Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we leave you with images of the Brazilian annual folklore festival, Boi Bumba, in an island on the Amazon River. I'm Betty Chen. Take care and see you next time.